Hello friends, welcome to Spoken Quora, where we bring you insightful summaries of some of the best books out there. Imagine if you could unlock the secrets to becoming mentally strong. What would you do if you knew the habits to avoid? The ones that hold most people back from reaching their true potential. Today, we explore things mentally strong people don't do by Amy Morin, a book that shines a light on the mental traps we should steer clear of. In this summary, we'll dive into key points that are vital for building mental resilience and strength. Are you ready to learn how changing your mindset can reshape your outlook on success, help you deal with adversity, and guide you through life's challenges? Let's uncover these life-changing insights and learn how to thrive by mastering our mental strength. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. Take Jack, for example, an elementary school student whose life changed after a bus accident left both his legs broken. Although the doctors reassured his mother that Jack would recover fully, she was overcome with worry, imagining the worst. She kept Jack at home, thinking it would protect him from feeling sad or depressed about his condition. Instead, Jack spent his days studying a bit, then getting lost in video games and TV, which soon drained his energy and happiness. As time passed, Jack's mother noticed how much her son had changed. He wasn't the same vibrant child she once knew. Concerned, she took him to a therapist. But instead of focusing on the trauma, the therapist saw Jack as a strong and resilient kid, encouraging him to embrace that mindset. She even had him write a book titled How to Beat a School Bus, and Jack, thrilled by the idea, drew himself as a superhero. This shift in thinking opened his mother's eyes. She no longer needed to feel sorry for Jack because he was safe, healthy, and able to recover. Treating him like a capable and strong child rather than as a victim changed everything. Jack returned to school, his life went back to normal, and he regained his happiness. Do you often feel sorry for yourself? We've all faced situations that turned our lives upside down, but sometimes the size of our problems is amplified by our reactions. Feeling sorry for yourself only prolongs the pain, drains your energy, and pulls you deeper into negativity. And when your mindset is focused on negativity, guess what? More negative things start to happen. So, what should you do? Stay active, even when you don't feel like it. Get out of bed, take a shower, clean your space, or take a walk. Keeping yourself busy helps block out negative thoughts. If you find extra time, pick up a new hobby or dive into a book you've been wanting to read. You've probably heard the saying, an idle mind is the devil's playground. Stay active, and don't give your mind time to wander into negativity. Every situation has two sides, a positive and a negative. Focus on the positive. You may be missing out on good things because you're too caught up in the bad. Appreciate what you have, and be thankful for the blessings that surround you, even during hard times. You are healthier and stronger than you realize. You have a roof over your head, and you eat twice a day. You are surrounded by a family that loves and cares for you. In short, your situation isn't as dire as you might think. Sometimes, all it takes is a change in perspective, and the world around you can shift. Imagine if a friend or family member were thinking the same thoughts you are right now, what would you tell them? Would you want them to drown in self-pity? Remember the challenges you've faced in life. If you've made it through tough times before, why not now? If you survived then, you can survive now. And never forget the power of helping others. Your small act of kindness could mean the world to someone else. Helping others gives your life greater meaning, and nothing is more fulfilling than knowing you've made a difference in someone's life. They don't focus on things they can't control. Take James, for example. After going through a tough divorce, he spent 3 years fighting in court for custody of his 7-year-old daughter. Despite his efforts, the judge ruled that she would stay with her mother, and James could visit on weekends. James struggled with the decision, convinced that he was a better parent. He felt that his ex-wife was intentionally trying to separate him from his daughter. When he planned to take his daughter whale watching, his ex-wife beat him to it, and this only deepened his frustration. He couldn't afford the lavish gifts or vacations his ex-wife provided, and he feared that she might be influencing their daughter negatively. In his desperation, James turned to Amy Morin for help, hoping she could assist him in getting full custody. But Amy couldn't change the judge's decision. She reminded him that continuing to fight would only harm his daughter and advised him to focus on what he could control, building a meaningful and strong relationship with her. By spending quality time with his daughter and improving himself, he could positively influence her life. Have you ever been in a situation where you desperately tried to control things, only to end up frustrated? When we focus on things outside our control, we waste energy and end up feeling more helpless. Instead, we need to accept what we can't change and focus on what we can. No one else can make your life miserable, it's how you respond to the situation that matters. Take the story of Terry Fox, a man who lost a leg to bone cancer. Instead of giving up, Terry was inspired by another man who ran a marathon with an artificial leg. Terry decided to do the same and began running marathons, with the goal of raising $24 million for cancer research. Though his journey was cut short when the cancer spread to his lungs, Terry inspired people all over Canada and raised the amount he had set out to achieve. Even though he passed away, Terry's determination and resilience left an indelible mark on the world. However, the legacy of Terry Fox lives on. His run continues today as an annual fundraising event, helping countless cancer patients across the globe. Terry's story is a testament to the power of focusing on what we can control and making a positive impact, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. They don't worry about pleasing everyone. Megan, a 35-year-old mother of two, came to Amy for therapy, feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. She lived with her husband and worked part-time, but her schedule was packed beyond belief. She volunteered at her church, taught Sunday school, and served as a Girl Scout leader. Despite trying to be the perfect wife and mother, Megan found herself increasingly unhappy and stressed. During their sessions, Amy quickly recognized the root of Megan's problem: she couldn't say no. Whether it was baking cupcakes for church, picking up kids for the Girl Scouts, or babysitting her sister's child, Megan took on every task thrown her way. She was so focused on helping everyone else that she neglected her own well-being and that of her family. Megan was trapped in the fear of being judged. She worried what her friends, church members, and family would think if she turned them down. She feared they'd see her as selfish. But Amy helped Megan see that trying to please everyone was not only unrealistic but damaging. Little by little, Megan learned to say no, without excuses or explanations. A simple, "No, sorry, I can't," was enough. At first, Megan feared rejection, thinking people would be upset with her, but she soon realized that most understood and respected her decision. As she began setting boundaries, Megan found she had more time for her family, her stress began to melt away, and she became a more present and joyful mother and wife. Do you have trouble saying no? Do you strive to please everyone? Maybe you fear conflict or rejection, or perhaps you worry that people won't like you if you turn them down. Children of alcoholics, for example, often grow up to be people pleasers, believing that by keeping others happy, they can avoid chaos or conflict. But this constant effort to please can erode self-worth, leaving a person living by others' expectations rather than their own. In the end, the popular choice is not always the right one. You can learn from stories like that of Jim Buckmaster, the CEO of Craigslist, who stayed true to his company's vision despite pressures to change. Sometimes, you have to prioritize what's best for you over the opinions of others. Craigslist is an interesting case when it comes to how companies thrive online. While most websites rely heavily on advertisements, Craigslist took a different route. The company, led by CEO Jim Buckmaster, refused numerous offers that could have brought in massive profits through ads. They chose instead to keep most services on the platform free. Naturally, this decision didn't sit well with everyone. The company faced sharp criticism and was even accused of promoting social anarchism and anti-capitalism. But Buckmaster and his team didn't pay much attention to these labels. Pleasing everyone was never their goal. Craigslist was run on its own terms, and because of its independence from ad revenue, it weathered the dot-com crash that devastated many other websites. Today, Craigslist remains one of the most popular and trusted websites in its niche. Buckmaster's commitment to his values, putting customers first rather than bending to external pressures, has ensured the platform's survival and success. In another story about staying true to oneself, James Matthew Barrie, the author of Peter Pan, experienced a life-changing event at a young age. When James was just 6 years old, his older brother David, who was 13, died in a tragic ice skating accident. His mother was devastated, unable to come to terms with David's death. To ease her grief, young James began mimicking his late brother, wearing his clothes and staying close to her. Over time, James became determined never to grow older than David. This desire to remain a child forever became so intense that even his physical and mental growth was affected. He stayed thin and never grew taller than 5 feet. James's decision to remain a child forever, as much for his mother's comfort as his own, later became the foundation for the timeless story of Peter Pan, a boy who refuses to grow up. Barrie's story, like Craigslist's, teaches us that trying to please everyone or clinging to the past can prevent us from fully living in the present. If you ever feel weighed down by regrets or memories of things you wish you could change, remember that the past is out of your control. The present, however, is in your hands. Dwelling on the past will only cloud your judgment, making it harder to solve today's problems or find happiness. Let go of what's already happened and focus on setting new goals, forgiving those who've hurt you, and writing a happy ending for your own life. Wyona's life was filled with pain and hardship from an early age. She witnessed her mother being beaten by her father every day but kept this painful secret buried deep within her heart. Despite her challenging home life, Wyona excelled in her studies. At 17, she made a bold decision. She ran away from home, determined never to return. She met a boy, and together they got married, both working as truck drivers to make ends meet. Years passed, and one day Wyona heard terrible news: her elder brother had abused his own child. In that moment, Wyona made a firm decision: she would break the cycle of abuse that had haunted her family for so long. After reflecting on her own painful experiences, she resolved to go back to school and study law. With hard work and determination, Wyona earned her degree and went on to open an organization for children who were victims of domestic violence. Wyona didn't stop there. She provided legal representation for poor and destitute women and children, offering help with social services as well. If someone lacked money for transportation, she would personally pick them up in her truck. Though her childhood had been full of trauma, Wyona chose to let go of her past and focus on helping others. Not only did she transform her own life, but she also changed the lives of many abused children, giving them hope for a better future. Wyona's story is one of resilience and selflessness. She turned her suffering into strength and made a positive impact on the world. On the other hand, Dan's story offers a different perspective on life's struggles. Dan lived in a small village where get-togethers and social gatherings were frequent. He had a stable job, a wonderful wife, and lovely children. From the outside, his life seemed perfect. But Dan carried a heavy burden. He resented his neighbor's success. He had no interest in Michael's new car or Scott's big promotion, but deep down, he was envious of their wealth. Dan's financial situation was tight, especially after his wife quit her job to care for their children. He worked extra hours and even borrowed money to try to maintain a lifestyle similar to his wealthier neighbors. However, the constant pressure to keep up with others started to take a toll on him. His frustration built up, and he became short-tempered, distancing himself from his family. Feeling overwhelmed, Dan sought help from a therapist named Amy Morin. During their sessions, Amy helped Dan realize that no one was forcing him to live a high-end lifestyle. He was the one putting that pressure on himself. Dan confessed that his envy stemmed from his childhood, when his family was poor, and he had been teased for not having nice clothes or toys. He didn't want his children to experience the same pain. In their next session, Dan's wife joined him, and for the first time, he opened up to her about his struggles. To his relief, she was fully supportive, and together they worked to shift their focus away from material possessions and toward what really mattered: family, love, and connection. Both Wyona and Dan's stories teach us important lessons. Wyona shows how we can rise above our past, while Dan reminds us that material success doesn't define happiness. What truly matters is how we choose to live and the love we share with those around us. They made the conscious choice not to compete with their neighbors anymore, but instead to focus on strengthening their own relationships. Do you spend a lot of time on social media, feeling jealous of other people's success? Do you find yourself comparing your life to others? If so, this is a habit you need to let go of. The more time and energy you spend worrying about others, the less time you'll have to focus on your own journey and goals. It's time to shift your mindset, stop comparing and start competing with yourself. Strive to be a better version of who you were yesterday, and before you know it, you'll see your own progress. There will always be someone who seems more successful, more popular, or wealthier, but remember, they don't have the same unique qualities or skills that you do. It's easy to overlook, but you have something special that sets you apart. Nobody in this world is perfect, and if you feel you're lacking in some area, there's always room for improvement. This reminds me of another story, one of Amy Morin's clients, John. John had hit rock bottom. He yelled at his wife and kids, used harsh words, and struggled with alcoholism and drug addiction. On top of that, John had been out of work for 6 months, and his bills were piling up. He constantly complained about his problems, and whenever someone tried to help or offer advice, it ended in an argument. One day, John walked into Amy's office and said, "You know, I don't like anything about myself." Amy responded, "That's actually a good thing," which shocked John. He asked her, "How can you say that? You're my therapist, you're supposed to help me feel better." Amy calmly explained, "The fact that you recognize your condition and admit that you need to change is a healthy sign. It means you're ready to improve." That moment marked the start of John's transformation. Over time, he quit alcohol and drugs, mended his relationships with his wife and children, and started showing them more love and care. By the end of his therapy, John had made remarkable progress and had turned his life around. His story shows that if you feel jealous of others' success, it likely means you're not happy with your own situation. But that awareness can spark the desire for positive change. The conclusion of Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Morin highlights an important lesson. The journey toward mental strength isn't just about avoiding certain behaviors, it's about actively building a life that makes you proud. While you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond. Your family and friends might support you, but true change starts from within. So, ask yourself, are you ready to let go of the past that's holding you back and embrace the future with resilience and positivity? Every day brings new choices, new opportunities to grow stronger. Don't dwell on setbacks or waste energy resenting others. Focus on your personal growth and nurture the relationships that matter most. The time to start is now. Today, decide to be the master of your emotions and the architect of your destiny. Step into your newfound strength, and don't look back. As the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Morin. If this summary inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more life-changing book summaries. Got thoughts or stories about building mental strength? Share them in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Every day is a chance to grow stronger and live better. Keep pushing forward, and until next time, stay strong and stay inspired.